Man, I need a minute to digest what's happening right now. Because we used to speak about this like 10 years in the future, 10 years in the future. Now you're telling me you're doing it right now.
Yes.
How do you feel, man?
What if your next teammate was an AI employee? One that can speak, think, and act like a real human. In this episode, I sat down with Alok Kumar, the co-founder of CozmoX AI, the startup behind voice first AI agents, already replacing entire teams in sales, support, and even compliance. We talk about how CozmoX went from a fintech pivot to building AI employees used by hospitals, insurers, and real estate firms. You'll hear how they trained AI to negotiate deals, show empathy, and onboard in under 30 minutes. Plus why Alok thinks managers might soon be reporting to AI.
So we started CozmoX when we were building our previous fintech. So we reached a point with our previous fintech where we hit a saturation point with regulations. So at that point we were like, hey, let's actually automate a lot of stuff before we hire people. So we started actually automating emails, and emails in this part of the world doesn't work. Then we automated WhatsApp. WhatsApp did not work. Then we were like, okay, let's actually automate voice. And at that point, we had a lot of things going around, like OpenAI released that, Claude released this. We were like, let's actually build on top of it because we didn't find any good tools out there. The reason why we wanted to build was we were just a team of 5 folks, and we wanted to actually make sure that we don't hire more people so we don't increase the burn and we can build it, right? So, and this was about June 2024. So we built a lot of tools around voice to automate voice, especially for customer support in our previous fintech. What happened was once one of our customers, he reached out to us and it's like, I know you guys personally. You only have 5 team members, but my daughter, she texted you and within 2 minutes, she got a call and her problem got solved from a woman with a Californian accent. I'm pretty sure you guys don't have a Californian accent and a lady voice, right? So who did this? We were like, that's a Slack tool. He was like, can I actually buy it? And I was like, would you pay for it? He was like, yeah, I would pay a couple of grand for it. And then we were like, done. We made that Slack tool to a web tool and we actually sold that product to him. And then we realized, wow, we have something over there. And we started building a lot of voice AI tools around to actually make sure the voice AI is really good. And we actually onboarded 2 or 3 design partners from September 2024 to December 2024 to actually build out for them. And what happened was we were really getting to know the industry like insurance, financial services, where we got these design partners. We officially launched CozmoX AI in Jan 2025. With a few customers in a beta stage. In less than 10 weeks of launching, we almost hit $1 million in ARR, and we're growing exponentially ever since.
God, that's insane. But wait, so you guys had not really wanted to start building agentic AI bots. You started with a fintech.
Yeah, we started with a fintech. So
okay. That's a big pivot, no?
So it was more or less, we reached a point where we had to become a financial service company or a technology company. So me and my co-founder Noah, we always wanted to build a technology company and not a financial service company. So it never excited us to actually go into the financial service compliance and whatnot and build in that area. So that's when we decided to actually build along these lines. And then it just happened.
So you guys were just automating your emails, voice, and then by accident, you guys stumbled into this.
Yes.
Okay. So, but what is CozmoX AI exactly?
So CozmoX AI provides AI employees who can speak, think, and do. Think about us as Stripe for AI. We give you an infrastructure where you can come in, build your own AI employees who can speak. So they can speak on 80 plus languages, including English, Arabic, Hindi, different variations of Arabic like Khaliji Arabic, Saudi Arabic, Emirati Arabic, Masri Arabic, and then Hindi, Malay, like across the board. Then these AI employees could think, and this is very important, right? So these AI employees are not chatbots who you give some inputs and they give you outputs. These AI employees can think clearly, go through any situation, have an input of their own to get to that output and do. What do we mean by do? They can be connected to your CRM. They can send emails. They can send WhatsApp. They can send payment links. They can go to your CRM, update all the links across the board for you.
You mentioned once that you guys are building AI employees, not bots. What exactly the core difference?
So there's a core difference between a bot. A bot is where you give a set of instructions, probably a fancy decision tree, and put an LLM, and then have an output, right? AI employees, you need to reimagine the entire thing. Think about this as actual employees. You have to tell them, hey, I want you to get me 50 sales leads, or I want you to close me about 10 customer support tickets, right? Once you tell them the output, they should be able to do all the inputs required to get the action done, and they should be able to navigate through any complex situation. And that's hard, especially in voice when it's real time involved. That's where we actually build this AI employees, where you tell her, hey, Liza, I want you to go and get me 50 leads from Amazon in UAE. She can actually go search for them, find their phone numbers, contact them, even get the last 5 years of their social online profile history, give a tailored outreach, talk to them, cold call them, whatnots, send them a WhatsApp after, email after, and have the entire communication loop closed in.
And in a world full of chat interfaces, text bots, why build something around voice? Man, it's very complicated.
To be honest, like we did not choose to build it, right? Okay. So like when we started, like we knew that voice is the best way to do the support to our users. And our users back then were teenagers. They had zero patience. If you start chatting with them, they will chat with you about their life problems, right? So you don't want to talk to a teenager on WhatsApp. So whenever somebody wants to actually talk to us, we wanted to build a voice interface because we noticed that the customer tickets get solved exponentially lower. And it was also a good project to actually get involved in because all our team members were engineers. So it was like a nice project to actually, or a nice problem to solve. And we ended up solving, which actually became a core product in our company as we speak.
Man, but I've heard few demos, and what surprised me is that they don't sound robotic.
Yeah.
That's very scary. How did you guys be able to pull this one out?
So when we started building this and we noticed that back in September 2024, there's a real demand for this, we were like, okay, if we are going to start working with enterprises and I tell them, hey, I'm plugging in multiple third-party tools to give you this voice AI, that's not going to fly. And that's going to be something like anyone can replicate. So from day one, we were like, hey, how do we build a tool which we can build it from ground up where we can control it end to end? So we built our own text-to-speech layer, which actually sounds like a human, acts like a human, and could even talk like a human with emotions. So if you are angry, it can respond in a calm tone. If you're excited, it can even be excited with you. So it has the intelligence to emotionally communicate with you. At the same time, and this is important, it can navigate through complex scenarios. So we built that text-to-speech layer, which actually helps us. And today in our orchestration platform, you could come in and you could choose CozmoX AI's text-to-speech, or you could choose any of the text-to-speech out there to actually have your voice AI employee perform anything.
Now, can you walk me through what makes CozmoX AI employees agentic? What decisions can they make on their own?
So today, if you come to our AI employees for, let's say, sales, Liza, you could tell her, Liza, I want you to get 50 leads, or I want you to give me the list of last 100,000 zombie contacts I have who are valid or not. So what Liza would do is she would go to your CRM or HubSpot or whatnot, right? Fetch those information, make a call to them, see if they can be activated, ask all the qualifying questions which your employees used to ask for the last 2 or 3 years because she has all the data set for it, and actually qualify people. She can send them emails. She can send them WhatsApps. She can even send them follow-ups. She can even have an end-to-end communication until you define your KPI of qualified has been defined. So if your KPI of qualified has been defined as and a customer returned back to you and expressed interest, she will get to that point and she can do it all on her own with minimal feedback loop. So when you come to us to build an AI employee, you have an AI employee who can be driven by outputs, not inputs. So if you go to a usual platform, what happens is you have to put inputs, fancy workflows, define, okay, put a delay, call, put a delay, do this. To our AI employees, it's purely agentic because the framework over there is to about think. And this is something which we have built from ground zero.
Man, that sounds like a dream. But when you guys make such pitch to companies, what kind of challenges, or they will say, no, we don't really want it right now, because it sounds just like an easy yes.
Actually, it's the opposite. Most of the time, what the companies tell us is, how quickly can we implement this and what all can we do immediately? We're like, hey, hold on. Let's do phase 1. Let's take this. Let's then go gradually rather than going on all on one shot, because even now, companies do not know whether it's a software or not a software. And people think about this, okay, it's a smart software. Not really. You're actually dealing with a complex system over here, which can learn, adapt, and grow. So it's not a piece of software which is like CRUD, right? Create, read, update, delete. It has much more to it. So you need to actually be careful around how you implement it, put the guardrails around it, and actually scale it further. So all our clients so far has been more like, how quickly can we execute? What all can we automate? What all should we not automate?
Your AI sales agent, Lisa or Liza?
Liza.
Liza. So what's happening behind the scenes when Liza, your AI sales agent, finds a lead, makes a call, or negotiates a deal?
So I'll give you an example of one of the real estate companies out in New York. What they have done is very simple. Before they got Liza on board to call their customers, they went to, Jordan Belfort's straight line method. They fed all of Jordan Belfort's sales strategy into Liza, and getting from 6 to 8 to 10, and their scripts last 3 or 5 years.
Yeah.
And then what they told Liza is, now your goal is to actually sell to our existing, let's say, potential investor leads, and also find new investor leads who qualify disqualification criteria. Liza made her salary back in less than 5 working days, where she called more than 10,000 people. She actually negotiated deals to get a meeting booked into a client's calendar where it is qualified, the client has really intent to actually buy, and the customer really wants to buy. And that's what Liza did. Liza can go to the internet, fetch information, find the last 5 years of someone's social profile, which is a public history, and actually do that calling and pitch whatever you want her to pitch. And the best part, she can navigate through complex situations. So we had once one of the clients pick up a phone and say, hey, my husband is not there. And she actually said, okay, when would your husband come back? Oh, he's going to come back. Is there any alternative phone number I can call him at? And she took that phone number and then she gave him a call. So that's what we mean by AI employees, not chatbots or agents of sorts.
Man, my sales friend will hate your guts. I swear. So they think that ChatGPT is the threat, but no, what you're building is the threat.
It's more about productivity hacks rather than a threat. I mean, it's not really a threat. Like I believe in a world where every salesperson out there would have multiple AI employees doing all the dirty work for them, so they can just focus on closing.
So you still need someone to close, or not really?
I would say that for complex deals, you need a human-to-human interaction. So it would be a lie if I say that, hey, an AI can close for you. Not yet. But an AI can actually do all the dirty work, including booking a meeting to your calendar, so that the final closing, you could do it. Because at the end of the day, if you don't see that person and you close everything on phone, there's something fishy around it. And think about it, it's an AI. So we are not there yet where an AI can fully close a complex deal. An e-commerce deal, yeah, it can. But a complex deal like a real estate deal, not there yet.
Okay, so you're saying it will not replace sales agent yet, but they can use it as a way to 10x their productivity.
Exactly, 10 or 100x. I mean, today we have companies who used to have more than 86 employees in sales cold calling. Right now, those 86 employees are not cold calling. We have 2 or 3 employees monitoring a couple of AI employees and just making sure there's a human in the loop, but everything else the AI employees are doing.
I had recorded a podcast with a common friend. He's invests in AI, Jeremiah, and he mentioned, like, Mahmoud, we're very close to have a company that would have 3 employees only, a CEO, a CTO, and like someone operations.
Yeah.
And agents.
Yeah. I mean, we are one of those companies, right? So being in an agent's business, we actually have automated our support. So whenever a customer actually Slacks us or WhatsApps us, the first line of defense is an AI support employee, which is Zara, which actually goes in and takes all this information. And we see that this being adapted even for our customers. Our customers are hiring employees in different departments. They actually have a sales employee who is junior. They have another sales employee who is senior. And then they have support employees junior, support employees senior. Monitoring the juniors' work, the senior would do it. And the seniors will be communicating with each other, like how you would have in a regular department. And we see this in action in many of our customers' live production environments.
And I love the fact that you guys trying their own dog food, which is You're the number one users for your own product.
Yeah, of course. I mean, we are still a team of 9, but
9 people.
9 people, but I think
How many time zones?
3 different time zones.
Because you have some people in the States.
Yes,
And where as well?
States, UAE, Asia. These are 3 time zones where we have people in.
Oh, how do you even manage the whole thing?
We have something called the virtual office. So essentially, whenever we are on zone, everybody turns on their virtual office, and we have like screens, huge ass screens where people are actually talking to each other. So we don't Slack each other or WhatsApp each other. We directly ask them. Yeah,
That's a nice concept.
Yeah, so it works for us because we noticed that if you start slacking and like emailing people, it doesn't work. And when you have satellite offices, you want to feel the presence. That's why how we have that human-to-human interactions.
Now, I asked you this before, but what was the biggest technical hurdles in making AI sound human, not robotic?
Data. So a lot of times when you have to actually have an emotional voice or it should go through different scenarios, you need to feed in enough data to actually train the model.
But even the pauses like it breathes every once in a while.
That is also data, right? So you have to get actual human data in different languages, in different vocabs to actually collect that. So when we were building our text-to-speech layer, we had to actually go through this rather than just take a third party and just plug and play over here.
And where did you get all this data from?
That's a good one, right? So one, we actually collected it from some universities. We collected it from third parties to actually build this, where we procured that. Number 2, we created a lot of synthetic data. So from the data we procured, we actually create a lot of synthetic data to create new ones, because some languages like Arabic, especially Emirati Arabic, there's only enough podcast and music and movies out there where you could train from originals, right? You have to create a lot of data on your own, and that's what we were busy doing about 3 to 6 months for V0.
So you're creating content for Emirati dialect?
We're creating synthetic data for actually training our models, yes.
I heard that synthetic data usually is not that good.
It really depends on the quality of data and how you label data. So that really depends on how good of data people you have in your team and how they can identify statistically significant data points and how that fluctuates your model. So if it's like garbage in, garbage out, right? Like if you put quality data in, you get quality data out. How do you synthesize it? Is it from previous actual data, and how good is the actual data? It really matters.
Man, stupid question, but can you just use like all YouTube recording?
Yeah. That's actual data. That's not synthetic data. That's actual data.
Yeah, but is it legal to use like YouTube movies, or like we're going into trademarks and licenses? And
the ones which are free to use and are not copyright protected, of course, it is legal.
That's a lot of data.
Yeah. So ones which are legal, which are not copyright protected, yeah, you can use it.
And how do you balance the flexibility in no code versus controlled customization for enterprises?
So that's a good one. What we have done is, when we built a developer platform, we were like, you know what? Most of the folks wouldn't know how to code, and you cannot have a low code platform where they still have to code, because these are people who see a coding platform. They're like, no, I cannot do it, right? So what we did is we created a super slick interface where you come in, you put in a couple of instructions, and that's generated for you. So you don't have to do any of the coding. And then we have product managers who are actively working with the team to get that up and running. But we have so far onboarded more than 40 clients alone in the last 3 months. We actually hit 50 the last week. So about 50 clients we have onboarded. And in this, about 20% are enterprise. For enterprise, we give a white glove support across the board, handhold them, connect to the databases. We sit on top of most of the enterprise ERPs, so it's easy for them to actually see a solution which is working. Few taps here and there in a week, they have their first AI employee doing those calls.
I heard one of your clients that you were able to train the AI employee, which is within 1 day.
So our AI employee can be trained with the data sets.
Okay.
So if you upload a data set in less than 24 minutes to 30 minutes, we have one AI employee who can actually speak on behalf of your last 10 years data. 30 minutes, that's what we guarantee, 24 to 30 minutes. So when we even have this in our sales pitch, right? We say 24, they're like, oh, 24 hours. We're like, no, 24 minutes. So that's how we do it.
How?
So essentially, we have created a reinforcement learning module. So when you actually upload like certain categories of data like PDF, text, images, voice calls, call recordings. What we do is we have agents processing this data, categorizing data, labeling the data, and even giving a data the hierarchy that, hey, this is good quality, this is bad quality, and this data is being structured. So when you upload this thing, think about uploading your last 10 years of data into GPT, for example. But the GPT will only understand, but we have a system or a brain which actually processes it. Once we process it, we show it to the enterprise, hey, this is how your knowledge base looks like. What do you think is good? What do you think is bad? They come in and they're like, oh, wow. Did our customer support say this to people? We are like, yeah, you did that. Is that correct? They're like, no, take it off. Like, we go through this iteration like about half a day, and within 1 day, they can actually get their first AI employee to talk and do all the tasks.
That's very different than all of your competitors.
True. Yes. That's why we call them AI employees, not AI agents, for a reason.
There's any specific use case that surprised you the most when some clients start using CozmoX?
So when we initially started onboarding customers, it was a shotgun approach. Hey, whoever is willing to pay, will just onboard them. But we realized that over the course, in less than 3 months, most of our customers were from the insurance sector, healthcare sector, or financial services. And while they were being onboarded, we realized that these customers was very heavy on like calling functions with complicated use cases. I'll give you an example, right? The other week, we had a public sector client who was selling event tickets, but they are public sector client and they sell huge volumes of tickets around China, Asia, like all across Asia, Singapore. One of the times they told the AI employee, hey, sell the tickets for the maximum value at the shortest period of time. And they uploaded all the contacts, right? One of the calls Liza made to this customers, it was not a customer who picked up. It was the son of the customer who picked up. So she was like, hey, is this father's name? The son was like, no, who's this? She's like, I'm Liza from this company, blah, blah, blah. And he was like, my dad passed away. Oh. So when I heard this voice recording, at this point, I was like, oops, we are in trouble. Like nobody even thought about this scenario, right? But then Liza was like, oh, sorry to hear about that. We never knew about it. We would like to actually offer your condolences, and actually gracefully went through that situation even without selling. So although her goal was to sell, a typical bot would have just sold, right? Because it's the objective. No, it did not sell. It stopped over there. And that's because then we were like, okay, this means what we built, which is called the APE, the Agent Protocol Engine, it actually set in place. So the Agent Protocol Engine, the APE engine which we have built, actually serves as guardrails for these enterprises, where any situations like this, it will either gracefully exit it, which was what happened, or give it to its manager, which could be another AI employee, or to a human. And this is already configurable, and this actually surprised me when it happened last week.
Oh God, that's a wonderful story. And you actually listened to this audio call as well.
Oh, we have that recording. Now we put in some of our pitches. This is what happens.
So what industry have adopted CozmoX fastest, and which ones still need convincing?
So insurance industry is something which has adapted the fastest. We have some of the largest insurance players using our platform, not only for policy renewals or new policies, even for back-end workflow automation, right? Actually going through the entire automation, doing the paperwork, which has nothing to do with voice. Our AI employees are doing it for them, which is saving a lot of labor hours from these actual humans. So insurance is one. Healthcare is the second one. So when you call a hospital, or when you are in a doctor's room doing when the doctor is giving the diagnosis, AI employees transcribing it and showing the doctor potential diagnosis. So essentially, healthcare is the second industry which has been used. The third one, right now we are seeing a lot of recent uptakes, is in financial services, especially in the lending segment, where there's a lot of collection calls, and that's one industry which has taken a lot. The fourth industry which is now picking up is food and beverage. So a lot of drive-thrus are actually utilizing our technology, not only for let's say getting the orders, but even in their hardware across the POS and whatnots.
Can you tell me more about the medical sector? So you have an AI that listens to the doctor, transcribe, and offer diagnosis as well?
So we have we are releasing something called end-to-end, being like an AI employee powered hospital. So if you for as a healthcare, when you call the hospital, an AI employee picks it up. An AI employee locks the meeting with the doctor's calendar. And a typical hospital loses about 40% of their revenue without no-shows. So this AI employees will do confirmation calls, send WhatsApps, and make sure that AI employees arrives. Then we even offer modules to the hospital where AI employee even transcribes and shows potential diagnosis when the patient is talking to the doctor. And the doctor can actually finalize those diagnoses, and the AI employee will even suggest the questions which the doctor missed out.
Oh God, man, that's still new. I haven't found it during my research.
That is something which we will be announcing very soon. It's going live, and we'll be announcing soon with the
Man,
healthcare.
that's insane.
Yes. We honestly believe that AI is going to have a very profound impact on the way we operate to increase productivity, and we are super excited. Like, that's the kind of solutions we actually develop on our infrastructure, where you can come in, like this hospital came in and they did it with a few taps, and that's how beautiful the infrastructure is. It can sit on top of your CRM's, ERP's data layer and can operate on a giant scale.
But still, man, a hospital is a very complicated empire. How much time the guys took to onboard, train, data, etc.?
Usually an enterprise takes less than about a week to collect the data. Collection of the data is the most important thing because it's fragmented. After collecting the data, putting it in the system is like 30 minutes, and then spitting it out is like another half a day where you have it. But collection of data from enterprise, that can take time. But after that, it's just a walk in the park.
Oh God! So you guys built Liza for sales.
Yeah.
Alex for that collection.
Yes.
Zara, receptionist.
Yes.
And now this, you gotta call it
Dr. Chan.
What's next?
We are also releasing something called Maya.
Okay.
Maya is somebody who could supervise a lot of AI employees at one place together. So Maya will be the supervisor for sales. Maya will be the supervisor for support to make sure this AI employees are actually collaborating with each other. So if, let's say, you are an enterprise, you want to allow certain sets of data to your junior AI employee, you can do that. But to Maya, you can give higher order of power, higher order of command, and higher order of data. So, and Maya can collaborate with the sales support, make sure it's being done, and report to the human boss out there.
So this morning I was reviewing my organizational chart with the rest of my team, and I'm putting this person report to this person and this person reporting this person. So you're telling me that AI agents will report to another AI agent?
Yes, it's happening already. It's happening already. And we build our product roadmap based on customer feedback, and that's the next AI employee which is gonna go mainstream for all our.
Alex, so I already report to board members, shareholders.
Yeah.
Will I in the future need to report to an AI as well? But don't say yes.
Probably the lower hanging fruits, yes. So things like support, I see a world where probably you might be reporting to one, not in the next few months, but probably in the next few years. It's a bit fluid out there. So it really depends on how smarter the system can get and how automated and how autonomous it could be, right? So let's say your AI employee can actually make decisions, can actually action items. So if you have a human employee, like an intern, for example, yeah, probably that might happen in the next few years. And we are already seeing systems where certain AI employees have certain rights which are similar to some managerial rights, and they are executing those actions. So it's not going to be surprising to me.
Oh God! Can you give me an example where an AI agent have managerial rights?
Managerial rights?
Yeah. You said like some AI agents already have managerial rights. Can you give me an example?
So right now, in one of the support functions we have enabled for a financial service industry, there is the compliance officer who needs to actually approve all the support going through and the comms and likewise. So they have deployed 2 AI employees. One AI employee who's doing the actual support, and the second AI employee who's auditing every single support. So she actually audits the emails being sent out, the WhatsApp being sent out, the calls being sent out, and flags things from both humans and the AI employee. And she actually sends this report to the compliance officer. and says, hey, your humans do not follow the SOP. This AI employee did, and gives that kind of reports to them. So in a way, she's even managing humans to a certain extent. Or at least.
Man, I need a minute to digest what's happening right now. Because we used to speak about this like 10 years in the future, 10 years in the future. Yeah. Now you're telling me you're doing it right now.
Yes.
How do you feel, man?
It's a beautiful world.
I mean, so the creativity is the ceiling here.
Creativity, process. So if you are a startup, it's very different to an enterprise. So enterprise, which is driven by process and friction. So that is the ceiling. What is the ceiling is defined by your process.
So now I want to jump to funding and how did you guys went to YC? What was your pitch to Y Combinator?
Oh, that was easy. So I was born and raised in Saudi. Loud computers for a long time. Went through a painful childhood. Moved into management consulting.
That's even worse.
Realized 2 years into consulting that it's a bunch of slides with zero impact. And
all love and respect to my management consulting guys, we love them a lot, but they know.
And COVID hit. And when COVID hit, I was like, you know what? I want to just get back to building. I called the smartest engineer I knew, which is my co-founder Noha. She was pursuing a PhD in US. That was my first sales pitch. Took about 6 months to convince her to drop out of PhD and move to UAE. When we moved to UAE, we were like, okay, 2 people who know how to build, but does not know what to build. That was a pitch we applied with Y Combinator with. And we got accepted in the first try, right? Like,
were you really?
Yes. So
first trial?
In the first try, yes. So we applied to them and said, hey, we want to build a fintech. We are not live with a product. We don't have a product. This is how we are planning to build. We know how to build and we'll figure it out.
And there's a reason why Y Combinator focus more on founders because, again, the fintech did not really pay out, but eventually you guys pivoted, which is a big pivot.
Yes. It was a total 180. But that fintech is being acquired as we speak. So essentially, that will be soon launched out. But YC always believes in the founders and the founding teams, never on the ideas. So when we got into YC, the founders were what mattered. YC was always emphasizing on it. Like, there were companies in our batch where the YC partners told them to pivot within the first 2 or 3 weeks because they were like, you need to pivot out of this, right? So YC is always about backing founders.
So you did not pinch for YC the AI agent, AI employees. You pitched with them. Okay.
We did not. We know. So back when we got into it, like in 2022, it was more about, hey, we'll figure out something to build. We need some money. So could you help us?
Oh, God. And what were the top 1 or 2 takeaways from YC that shaped CozmoX product or strategy?
Number 1, with CozmoX, for example, I said, right, like when we launched in September 2024, we had 3 design partners. We did not make any much noise around. We just took 3 design partners and was trying to build something for them, which is not a service, but a product, which was following YC's rule number 1, build something people want. So we wanted to build something people want, and we were actually going with our design partners, going to their offices, understanding the most frictionful process, like trying to understand like this doctor-patient treatment, like understood all this boring process. But there's a lot of people involved, a lot of friction involved, and that's why we were doing it. So that's number 1, build people something one. Number 2, YC always emphasizes on this, right? Your highest priority is customers. Always listen to the customers, like be as close to the customers as possible. For that reason, we never increased the team from about 9 people. All our team members are one message away from our customer, including our engineers. We never had a product manager, and we would never probably have a product manager for a long time.
Ouch.
Because,
product manager.
Because everyone is a product manager in our company.
True.
And we believe product managers are supposed to be more like a lubricant. Okay. So not like a glue between the engineering team and this one, but more like a lubricant. So we always like train our team members to become a product manager, because many times the salespeople are like, hey, I'm only about sales. We say, hey, if you're part of the founding team, you need to act like a product manager and always listen to customers. And that's something which YC taught us, like always listen to customers, do things which are not scalable. And that's what we did to hit our first $1 million in revenue.
Man, there's something happen in a company or a startup when the number of employees go over 15 or 25.
Yeah.
Then you need to start hiring a middle layer, middle
Yes.
management, and then you need to have product managers
Yes.
and report structure.
Yeah.
How you're supposed to scale if you don't want to hire more people, or this is something in the future?
So that's something which is actually bothering me for the last about 1 month. In the last 1 month, I took a step back from a lot of sales meeting, and I have been more of a HR where I'm actually going through interviews. Last week, I went through about 200 interviews. 200 interviews. My calendar is filled with interviews.
Which positions?
Engineering. So 90% of our team are engineers, and we like to keep most of them to be engineers because we're solving a lot of complex problems and we love problem solvers. So for engineering, we were going through this. And when we are hiring people, we tell to even people with about 15, 16 years of experience, if you're not going to be hands-on, as in 90% of the time you're not going to code, probably is not a good place. So having that product first ethos, having a culture where you're listening to customers, doing things which are not scalable, but making sure your customers have a white glove experience, that a lot of people are not comfortable with. Because a lot of people are comfortable with set rules. I have to do this, I have to do that. Especially if you're like 15, 20 years of experience in tech, you're like an engineering manager or a leader, right? And to tell them, hey, you're going to do hands-on coding, that's for them is like not the best place.
Especially in this region. After like 6, 7 years, I want to be a manager.
Exactly. So for this reason alone, even in our hiring like policy, if someone likes to become a manager for the sake of being a manager and doesn't like individual contribution, we don't hire them. So for this reason, I think the way we are building the culture, even when we reach 15, 30 people, and probably we'll reach soon, we want most of them to actually be doing individual contribution and having autonomy to actually make decisions. So even on a weekly basis, when we have our all hands meeting, we actually go to customer problems, customer wins, try to understand which features to prioritize. And everyone has a say. And for that reason, we don't even have titles in the team. We tell them, pick up a problem statement. And an intern can come and say, hey, this is what I want to pick up. And he or she can also lead the team to do it. So think about it. 20-year experienced person should actually follow an intern because he actually picked up a problem statement which makes the most impact to a customer. So that is how we are actually playing with our team, where no middle layer, but just autonomous actions which will give us the best like impact for our customers.
Though that's even more interesting than the AI employee. So most engineers that I work with, the thing that they care about the most is creating clean, beautiful, scalable code.
Yeah.
How then can you make this engineer care about the customers?
So we tell the engineers when we hire, we didn't hire because you know Python or Golang. We hired because you're a problem solver. Engineers 100 years back used to build the best steam engines. Engineers right now write the best codes. Engineers 100 years from now, we don't know what they would be doing. But across the spectrum, they would be solving problems. So if you have to solve problems, you need to listen to the customer. So every engineer, even engineers who are introverts, we put them into the Slack channel so they can at least know when a customer types in, and we can actually respond to them in less than 10 or 15 minutes. And we made it super, and it was not easy, right? We made it like super important within our DNA that customer first, being customer obsessed, is second to none. Even on a weekend, if a customer comes on a Sunday morning and says, I have this issue, there's one engineer, one team member who would actually jump in and tell the customer, hey, let me sort this for you and actually get this fixed.
So there's no product manager. I'm assuming the person who doing customer interviews, product discovery, deciding what to build and what not to build, product strategy, it's the founder, which is you.
Founders and the founding team, yes. So it's primarily driven by me as well as the founding team. So every team member actually has a say, but we actually see this from our customers. For example, our customers are not very implicit when it comes to feedback. They're like, hey, this is not working. Hey, this one, can I have this? Can I have this? So it gets prioritized automatically. And we have AI employees who goes to Slack, finds this information, puts it to linear and just sorts it through, sees how many things are done. So that's already being done. So it's not like you need a product manager to come and say that, hey, probably we need to feature this, but we care about what is like urgent, how to prioritize it, and on a weekly basis we change it. So we don't have a product roadmap for 2 years what to do, but we know where is the vision. Our vision is to build that voice operating system for AI employees. So any AI employee which is going to be deployed, if you want to deploy in voice and have workflow automation, we are the first ones to come through. So that's the vision. But to get to that vision, the customer feedback is the short-term implication, and our AI employees are already gathering that feedback from all our Slack, WhatsApp, and email channels.
So you build the startup. Can you talk to me through the processes that you help instill in the team? This is probably the stupidest question I will ask, but there's any specific frameworks that you use? We're always trying to chase what is the best practices. Do you use OKRs? Do you use one-on-one meetings? Do you use town hall meetings every month?
So we have some culture put in place, not because we wanted to put a culture, because it's working for us. So the first thing is, since we are just 9 people in the team, we wanted to make sure that we are always there for the customers. And we know that the space is evolving constantly. So the first thing we've put in the team is, hey, we are going to work almost 12 hours a day, probably 6 days a week.
This will filter 99% of people.
And it does. And not a lot of people want to work in that environment, right? But this actually created a sense of urgency within team members who signed up. They love it. Because it's not like it's robots building it. Like on a Saturday, we are barbecuing and actually having fun and discussing on all hands how to actually help the customers. And we are always there for each other. So that's number one, we did it. Number two, we put a policy in called WNN, which is why not now? So essentially, if we have to do something, we don't do it tomorrow, we do it today. So if you're not sleeping, we should probably do it. So for that reason, whenever there's a customer request, it doesn't get prioritized for the next sprint. It gets prioritized for the next 1 hour. So we actually do that across the board for the customers. The third thing which we actually do a lot is, and this is very important, right? We call our team not family. We call our team like elite sport team, right? So we are always there for our team members, but we care about hiring the best AA plus players, which means the next engineer I hire, or the next salesperson I hire, or the next product manager / designer, or anybody we bring to the team, it needs to be better than a previous person. And that's a rule. So if somebody is like, I'm not sure to hire that person, most of the time we don't end up bringing that person on board, because we are for sure that probably we might not learn from this person. So that's how we actually attract talent, retain talent, and put a policy in place to actually get this done. And our sprint cycle are usually less than a week. So we don't have a sprint cycle of more than a week. Any feature we have to ship out, it is 3 to 5 days.
Week.
Less than a week. We don't...
Sorry, continue.
Go on.
What's a complicated feature? Most feature like sometimes take like 15 days.
Define a complicated feature.
You need design to be done, a feature that will take data from this CRM to put it in this ERP.
This design, we do it on Lovable right now. So we don't do design and all that.
Do you really use Lovable?
Yeah, we use Lovable to just prototype the initial version so that we can actually make that and be like, oh, this works. So our all hands, we actually use Lovable. Oh, this is what we need to have. Okay, this looks fine. Okay, what are the features to do it? That's a 1 hour discussion. So the PRD, everything is done in 1 hour. After that, the meeting notes are done. We actually compile it in less than 3 hours. We know what to do. Then we have an engineering meeting where we align on the, let's say, the direction, the system design, whatnot. In less than a day, we know what to do. The next 2 days, we end up building. Most of our team members are engineers, so we actually build and we release it to the customers. We don't wait more than a week to release a feature, because I honestly believe you need to iterate rapidly. And if you have to iterate rapidly, you should be ashamed of many products which you push out. But when you push out those products, the customers will be like, this is not working, that's not working. That's how we actually did a lot of good work in less than 3 months.
I'm assuming the speed of learnings that you guys have is just insane.
It's execution. It's relentless execution. We don't wait for... So I think... Bezos had this policy, two-way door or one-way door. Most of the decisions in product is a two-way door. Unless you're talking about data security or privacy, or when your servers break and then customers are going to have a catastrophic impact, most of them are two-way doors. So for two-way doors, we have a policy with the team. Let's not overthink, let's just execute. And we don't have approvals or sign-offs or product manager or a founder to come and say, hey, this is the case. We identified a problem, we put the engineering requirement in less than a day, next 2 days, execute, 1 or 2 hours, test it, let's fix that. The 4th day, the customer has it.
I want to jump back to the customer. Can you tell me what's one behind the scenes story from a client that made you think that this is why we're building this?
So this happened with one of our recruitment customers. So one of our recruitment customer, he was having a hard time, and he met us. He was actually a design partner to us, and it's very important, right? He met us during October 2024. He was like, listen, I have this company, about 60, 70 people. We have reached a saturation point. Processes are difficult. I saw your tagline, which is increase your revenue without headcount. And that's why I got attracted to the booth which we set up. And we set up that booth without even a website. We were just trying to get our first customer. It was like, how do I actually make sure that this can work? Because right now we reached a saturation point where we are not growing much. We have getting a lot of clients, but these are existing clients. How do we do it? And then I was like, okay, what about this AI play, data play? He was like, no, I want to actually create custom ones. So I gave him our developer platform. What he ended up creating was something beautiful and something which not only made me believe in our mission much more, but also was like the realm of possibilities we never thought ourselves, right? So he created 5 AI employees.
What, sorry?
5 AI employees.
Okay.
The first AI employee, and he's in a recruitment space, right? What does recruiters do? Finds people who post, let's say, ads for jobs, reaches out to them, pitches their company, gets the contract, finds potential candidates, arranges a meeting and closes them. So he created 5 AI employees who can actually do this. So the first AI employee, she finds the list of anyone who posts a job in a certain category in certain geography. And for him, he actually picked San Francisco. So anyone who posts a product management or an engineering role in SF, he actually was finding the company name. And then they also found a recruitment manager's name. The second AI employee calls the recruitment manager and pitches his company. And this is a company based out of here, right? He pitches the company. The third AI employee, after he pitches and gets that, let's say, success fee, whatever it is, third AI employee, before even the contract is sent, goes to LinkedIn, finds potential candidates who fits this criteria, evaluates them across Git, across any other platform, Behance, if it's a designer, whatever they posted. Fourth AI employee shortlists and calls them. Calls these candidates and pitches them in company. The fifth AI employee, even before the contract is signed, once they have agreed verbally, schedules the first meeting with the company and the candidate as a pro bono to show them that, hey, this is what we can do. And all this is being done in less than 4 hours of somebody posting a job post. A process which used to take like about a week in less than 4 hours.
Again, we used to talk about this, that this would happen like 10 years or 20 years from now. Now you're telling me this is all feasible right now.
This is something which is actually being implemented right now, yes.
But will it make for the recruiter, I don't know, that's the cost benefit analysis. Is it worth it or from his point or no?
Most of our customers make the money of the AI employee back in less than a week of deploying her.
Less than a week?
Less than a week. So any AI employee which has to create revenue, less than a week. So we always guarantee our customers, this AI employee can do the work of actually 5 to 10 humans. And if it cannot, we probably would not even deploy to that customer. And that's why being obsessed with the customers matter, because we really care about how this would impact customers and how would this change the workforce, because we really want to define what is the next civilization where the workforce is not purely humans. And to do this, you need to do the right thing. So we have certain customers who come, hey, I need to figure out this with the AI employee. We're like, no, doesn't make sense to you. You might even probably lose your time, and we don't want to even get into that.
But still, so for example, this recruitment company, now you know most of the processes.
Yeah.
You can hire a founding team, a CEO, another founder, and you're like, guys, these are like 10 employees. So you can start companies like right now.
In fact, we had a startup recruitment firm who approached us last week who's doing something similar to that. So they heard the story once and they're like, can we do that? Like, you have a platform, you can do whatever you like.
Oh, Alok, this has been an insane episode. I still have so many questions. But still, we're running out of time. Where can our audience know more about you, about the company, how can they start playing around with those AI employees?
They can visit our website at CozmoX AI. It's cosmox.ai. They can go even have a chat with Liza right now, who is our sales employee, or Zara, our support employee, or Alex, our debt collector. And they can have a go with them. And if they love it, has a chat, it books a meeting into my calendar, and they'll have a chat with me too.